Luke, I'd like to ask you first of all because you had my sympathy as a club. You had my sympathy the other night because you've gone on this incredible run, winning what 7 out of 9, drawing the other two, and yet still the other night Wrexham go top. I mean, what do you make of that? It just goes to show, doesn't it, the intense, incredible competition between you two at the top of that table.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the other professional leagues in the country, I think with our points tally, we'd probably still be comfortably top. But the reality is that I'm grateful for Wrexham because if we're gonna do something this season, we are going to earn it because it's going to be the toughest. I'm sure it's going to be the toughest season ever in the National League. So it's gonna keep us really, really motivated all the time, and we have to maintain our level as a bare minimum, because otherwise, Wrexham and one or two others for sure are going to be continuing to win every week.
Can it bring the best out of your players then, do you think?
Yeah, and I think if it doesn't, it's going to teach us what we need to do to go better. To go one better if we if we perform to a high level and it's still not enough, we know we have to push on and find ways to be able to win all the games and home and away, because that increasingly is becoming the task.
Because it does remind me, and I've mentioned this a couple of times on the radio this season, it sort of reminds me of that Man City-Liverpool battle when they just pushed each other all the way, but ultimately one kind of has to miss out. And when you're at this level, obviously the aim is promotion, with only one going up, there's so much at stake when it feels like, and I know we're still only fairly early on in the season, but it feels like, certainly at the moment, there's like nothing to call between you two. It seems harsh, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a very tough league, and I've learnt that very early on how tough the league is. I think Wrexham with Phil were in their second campaign and probably learnt, I'm sure, lots from their last campaign. The same players learning more what is required of them with that manager. Some new ones coming in to replace other players that couldn't get maybe to the level that was required, and they're trying to increase all the time their level, and we have to do the same. And yeah, it'd be lovely if we had less competition, but in reality, we need to be grateful for having the competition, the level that we have, to keep us really engaged all the time. Every single thing matters every single day.
I mean, neither team surely can keep up quite the rate that it's going at the moment, can they? Over the course of a whole season, surely injuries, suspensions, those kind of things surely will take their toll eventually. It can't keep going like it is, can it?
I don't know. I mean, only time will tell. But yeah, both teams have been in incredible form, and it's hard to imagine that those levels can be maintained. Even with the weather changing at this level, the pitches become more unpredictable and can cause like an upset either way for either team, because sometimes it becomes very difficult to make simple actions, and people can slip more on the unstable surface and things like this. So it's hard to imagine, but at the same time, I wouldn't be completely shocked if it continues in a very similar way.
Gareth Southgate's named his England squad today, and it strikes me, for teams in the Premier League and the Championship, they're thinking, one more game and then a bit of a rest. It isn't for you. Are you going to pay even the slightest bit of attention to the World Cup when you've got games throughout it yourself?
Sometimes myself and the staff, we say to each other, "Oh, is the World Cup in 2 weeks or whatever?" And, we just cannot believe it, because when especially as a young player, when you're a schoolboy, you can't wait. You get so excited, and you know exactly when it's coming. You've got the thing on the wall. You've got the sticker book. You're waiting for it to start. You can't wait. But with the schedule how it is, and the demands of the National League, and it's just, I seem to forget every 2 days, the same as all the other guys, that it's even coming.
I wonder if it'll sort of help or harm a club like Notts, where the people will be too busy watching the World Cup, or maybe that'll sort of ignite their interest and the football that they can actually go and watch live. They can't go and see that, obviously, it's in Qatar, so maybe they'll come down and see you at Notts with you going so well at the minute.
I would like to think that people are going to miss the live experience and think, oh, let's go and watch County. Maybe if we can be somebody's second team and then start to realise that they like it. That would be great. So if we can pick up the ones that are like neutral, haven't decided, and we can pick up a few that have lost a bit of interest with a different club or something like that, and we can make a really exciting performance, somewhere along the line, and maybe we can bring some more people to Meadowlane. That'd be great.
Yeah. So do you think you'll watch it when it's on or not?
I think that we're going to try to, as a group of staff, we're going to try to pick certain games that fit with our schedule and sit and watch together and try and enjoy it a little bit. But I'm sure we're going to miss big chunks of it because we just need, of course, our priority is the players here and preparing for each performance.
Just finally, I want to ask you about Eastleigh away, because I don't know how you, being kind of interested in stats and things like that, it's maybe a stat you don't want to hear, but 3 games Notts have played away at Eastleigh since dropping to that league, and they've lost all 3 and haven't scored. Now, obviously you weren't there for any of those, but can there be anything in those things? Can there be reasons over a number of years why there is a bogey club in a sense, or a bogey ground, or is it just coincidence and nonsense, and it can all change in a
No, I don't think nonsense. I think that sometimes you play on a certain pitch and you have a bad experience, and next time you go there, psychologically already something is a bit like, I don't like this place, there's something about this place I don't feel. But I think we can change that because the whistle goes, the game begins, and the first 2-3 actions are really very positive, and suddenly everybody forgot about something else that happened in the past. Of course, probably the other way around is true, that if we don't start well, 1 or 2 guys that were involved over the years with Notts and went there and didn't do well, maybe they'll come back to haunt them somewhat. But we will try to prepare to make the team feel confident and strong, and not to think about anything like that. And we are the ones that can change that. We're the ones that can put that to an end, and we have to concentrate on that rather than try to concentrate on anything else negative.
Great stuff, Luke. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it.
Thanks, David.
I'll see you again. Thanks very much.
See you soon.
Recording stopped.
I will leave. I'll leave you to it, Ollie. And Luke.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you, mate. Hi, Luke. I spoke to you after the game on Tuesday about Kevin, obviously with his injury. I just wondered whether you had a further update on that, having had a couple of days to assess it.
Yeah, I was quite surprised because the feedback was very positive, and I was shocked because of the amount of pain that Kevin was in. But having understood a bit more about the history, and I think there was an injury to the shoulder previously, and a huge action that made his arm in a really unnatural position that probably caused a huge amount of pain for the moment and for the remaining minutes of the game. But thankfully things seem to have settled down far quicker, and there's no actual long-term damage in there, just more just the sensation and the agony of that moment. So we're really pleased with that, and Kevin has a chance to be back on the pitch in the very near future.
Does that rule him out of this weekend, though? Is that too soon?
Yeah, I think we just need to be really sure that he can do everything that he needs to do without feeling restraint or without him being vulnerable to another action in a similar way. So provided that we feel very, very confident, then Kevin can be considered. But if not, then we maybe be a bit more patient.
And then just following on from that, if he is unavailable this weekend, does that provide an opportunity for some of your players to make a claim for a place in the matchday squad on a regular basis? I know Kevin's had to bide his time a little bit, and he's not been in the matchday squad recently. Does that give players that aren't in the squad a bit of an opportunity to impress you?
Yeah, I think that particularly with this period of football that we're approaching now, weather conditions and pitches, as I spoke about before, changes a lot the type of the type of physical load. The demands on the players change, and we need everybody now to be very, very much ready and focused to come into the team. Yes, we had a period of time where the team was fairly settled, and we played consistently with a very similar starting lineup. But for sure, I feel like now the squad needs to be able to change around a little bit more.
I know you touched on it after, I think it was Torquay, Ruben Rodriguez. He was signalling to you that he felt a little bit, something in his hamstring. He was perhaps a little bit fatigued. Was that a similar situation on Tuesday as well?
Yeah, I think I really felt like that Ruben had done an awful lot, and he's done an awful lot all season. And I don't feel like there's a problem to put another very good player on the pitch that is fresh and has energy. I thought that the contribution of Kevin and Sam in midfield when they went on the pitch was very positive, and they very nearly provided actions to win the game, both of those guys. And Ruben's a really special player, we know that, but at the same time there's moments where Ruben has spent his energy and is not feeling exactly as fresh as he would at the beginning of a game, and there's no problem. He understands that, and of course he understands how important he is to us as well.
And as you've said then, it was in impactful substitutions from and contributions with Kevin and Sam. But one player that I was wanting to hear about was Toby Adebayo-Rowling. I thought when he came on, he was brilliant. He was attacking and defending, and he was putting a really good performance. How impressed have you been, obviously with his struggles at the start of the season? How impressed have you been with his recent form?
I've been impressed with Toby all along, and yes, and I agree that he needed to really understand the role in the team, and one or two performances early on was difficult for him. But from the very, very beginning, I've been extremely impressed with him as a guy, as a person. He has a really incredible way with every single person at the club. Toby is like a breath of fresh air for everybody. If you stop and speak to any player, any staff, they will tell you that Toby just had a conversation. He made them smile, and if he does individual work with Zhao or Ryan or George, they will say to me always afterwards that he was fantastic, very engaged in the practice, and really committed to the practice. Myself, with every engagement I've had with Toby, I've been so impressed, and he has worked very, very hard to improve his performance and to understand the requirements, and he is coming into his own, and I think he's going to be increasingly on the pitch more and more, for sure.
And then obviously, as Dave touched on earlier on, despite this 7-match winning run and then the 9-game unbeaten run, you do sit second in the table. Has that affected the mood at all? Obviously, it's still early on in the season. There's still a lot of football to be played. But has that had an effect on your players, or are they just focused specifically on Eastleigh this weekend and just taking it game by game?
Yeah, we are completely focused on the game, and our preparations have begun already for the Eastleigh game. I would like the group to feel refocused and understand the challenge that is on us, because the opposition is so good, and it's not just Wrexham. Wrexham are fantastic, of course. That's a very obvious one, but there are many teams below that are really now starting to get into their stride and playing extremely well. And I hope that the group are focused. I tried to send that message to them this morning, that we need to look upon this as an opportunity for us to have an environment that keeps us every single minute of every day. We have to try to be really, really good and really switched on. So that's the way we have to take it. We can feel sorry for ourselves that we have a very high points tally at this stage and we're still not top of the league, or we can accept the situation as being a huge challenge.